You keep saying life let you down, people let you down, circumstances let you down, but deep down, if you're honest with yourself, you know the truth. You let you down. That moment when you knew what you were supposed to do but chose comfort instead, that was you. That time you had a goal, a dream, a vision, but you hit snooze, made excuses, and told yourself, I'll start tomorrow. That was you. And listen, this is not about beating yourself up. It's about waking yourself up. Because the same person who let you down is the only person who can lift you back up. You have to understand something powerful. Accountability is not a punishment, it's your superpower. The moment you stop blaming everything and everyone else is the moment you take your power back, because if it's your fault, then it's your fix. If you created the problem, you can create the solution, but as long as you keep pointing fingers, you stay stuck. And you weren't built to stay stuck. You were built to rise, to grow, to dominate your fears and outwork your doubts. But that requires discipline, not motivation, not hype, not waiting until you feel ready. Discipline. Because feelings are temporary. Feelings will tell you to stay in bed, to quit early, to take the easy road. But discipline says get up anyway. Discipline says do the work even when nobody's watching, even when it's hard, even when it hurts. And every time you choose discipline over comfort, you rebuild trust with yourself. Because that's really what this is about. You broke trust with yourself. You made promises and didn't keep them. You said you would change, but you stayed the same. And that hurts, not because life is unfair, but because you know you're capable of more. There's a version of you inside right now that's begging to come out. A version that's focused, consistent, unstoppable. But that version can't show up if you keep choosing excuses over execution. You can't keep playing small and expect a big life. At some point, you have to decide that average is no longer acceptable, that mediocrity is not your story. And yeah, maybe you've wasted time, maybe you've made mistakes, maybe you've let yourself down more times than you can count. But hear this clearly, it's not over. As long as you're breathing, you still have a chance to get it right. But you don't get that chance by waiting. You get it by moving, right now, not later, not when it's convenient, not when everything lines up perfectly, because it never will. You have to start where you are with what you have and give it everything you've got. No more excuses. No more delays. No more letting yourself down. Because at the end of the day, it's not about what happened to you. It's about what you choose to do next. And that choice, that power, has been yours all along. You say you want success. You say you want to change your life. You say you're ready for something bigger. But your actions keep telling a different story, and that's where you let yourself down. It's not the dream that's the problem, it's the discipline behind it. Because everybody loves the idea of success, but very few people are willing to commit to the process that creates it. You let yourself down every time you choose how you feel over what you said you would do. You wake up and you don't feel like working, so you don't. You don't feel like studying, so you scroll. You don't feel like pushing yourself, so you settle. But listen, feelings are inconsistent. They change with the weather, with your mood, with your environment. If you keep relying on feelings, your life will always be unstable. That's why discipline is everything. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. It's showing up when it's uncomfortable, when it's inconvenient, when nobody's clapping for you. That's where the transformation happens. That's where you separate who you are right now from who you're capable of becoming. And the truth is, every time you avoid the hard work, you're not just delaying success. You're reinforcing a habit of quitting on yourself. You're teaching your mind that it's okay to back out. Okay to break promises, okay to stay average. And over time, that becomes your identity. You don't trust yourself anymore. You start doubting your own words because deep down you know you haven't been consistent. But the good news is, the same way you built that habit, you can break it. You can rebuild your discipline one decision at a time. It starts small, waking up when you said you would, finishing what you started, pushing a little harder than yesterday. And those small wins, they stack up. They build confidence, they build momentum, they build a new version of you. But you have to be intentional. You can't just hope things change. You have to force change through your actions. And it's not going to be easy. There will be days when you're tired, days when you're frustrated, days when it feels like nothing is working. But those are the days that matter the most. Because anyone can show up when it's easy. Anyone can grind when they feel good, but champions show up when it's hard. Champions stay consistent when everything in them is screaming to quit. And that's the level you have to reach if you're serious about not letting yourself down anymore. You have to stop negotiating with your excuses. Stop giving yourself options to quit. Make a decision that no matter what, you're going to follow through. Because at the end of the day, success is not about talent. It's not about luck. It's about consistency. It's about showing up again and again and again, even when you don't see results right away. And if you can master that, if you can master discipline over your feelings, then you won't just stop letting yourself down. You'll start proving to yourself that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. You're not tired because life is hard. You're tired because you keep running away from the version of yourself you know you're supposed to become. Every single day, there's a voice inside you reminding you of your potential, reminding you that you were built for more. But instead of answering that call, you silence it with distractions, excuses, and fear. And that's how you let yourself down, not in one big moment, but in small decisions repeated daily. You scroll instead of studying, you hesitate instead of acting, you doubt instead of believing. And over time, those small choices build a life that doesn't reflect who you truly are. Because deep down, you already know you're capable of greatness. You've felt it before. That moment when you were focused, when you were disciplined, when you were locked in and nothing could stop you. That's the real you, but instead of feeding that version, you keep feeding the weaker version. The one that wants comfort, the one that avoids pressure, the one that's afraid to fail. And here's the truth, your potential is not going to wait forever. Every day you ignore it, you create a gap between who you are and who you could be. And that gap, that's where regret lives, that's where frustration grows. Not because you didn't have opportunities, but because you didn't take them. Not because you weren't good enough, but because you didn't push yourself enough. You let yourself down every time you chose easy over necessary. But listen carefully. Your story is not finished. You are not stuck. You are not broken, and you are not too late. The only thing standing between you and that next level is your willingness to step into discomfort. Because growth does not happen in comfort zones. It happens when you're stretched, when you're challenged, when you're forced to become more than what you are right now. And yes, it's going to be uncomfortable. Yes, it's going to test you. But that's the price of becoming who you said you wanted to be. You can't keep saying you want greatness, but keep living like average is okay. At some point, your actions have to match your ambition. You have to start showing up like the person you dream about being. That means being consistent when it's boring, being focused when it's hard, and being committed when it's inconvenient. Because that higher version of you, it's not going to come to you. You have to rise to it. And the moment you decide to stop running, to stop hiding, to stop making excuses, everything begins to shift. Your confidence grows, your discipline strengthens, your mindset sharpens. And slowly but surely you start closing that gap. You start becoming the person you were meant to be. But it all starts with one decision, the decision to stop letting yourself down and finally start showing up fully and unapologetically for your own life. You've been given chances, opportunities, time, energy, and somehow you still feel stuck, like nothing is moving, like nothing is changing. But if you strip away all the excuses and look at it raw and real, the truth hits different. You've been repeating the same patterns, making the same choices, and expecting a different outcome, and that's exactly how you keep letting yourself down. It's not that you don't know what to do, you know. You know you need to wake up earlier, work harder, stay consistent, cut distractions, stay focused. The problem isn't knowledge, it's execution. You hesitate, you overthink, you delay, and every time you delay, you push your future further away. Every time you say, "I'll start tomorrow," you reinforce a cycle that keeps you average, and average is comfortable, but it will never fulfill you. That's why you feel frustrated. That's why you feel restless, because there's more inside you and you're not letting it out. You keep waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect mood, the perfect plan, but perfection is a lie. The truth is, the moment you've been waiting for is already here, and it's not perfect, it's messy, it's uncertain, it's uncomfortable. But that's where growth lies. You don't need more time, you need more urgency. You don't need more ideas, you need more action. Because action is the only thing that creates change. Not talking about it, not thinking about it, not planning it endlessly, doing it. And here's the reality. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to wake you up, push you every day, or force you to become better. That responsibility is yours, and that's not a weakness, that's your power, because when it's on you, it's in your control. You get to decide whether you stay stuck or you level up. You get to decide whether you keep letting yourself down or you start showing yourself what you're really made of. But that decision has to be backed by action, real, consistent, daily action. Not once in a while, not when you feel motivated, but every single day, especially on the days you don't feel like it. Because those are the days that define you. Those are the days where you either break your old habits or they break you. And listen, it's not going to be easy. There will be setbacks. There will be moments where you feel like quitting, where you feel like you're not making progress. But progress isn't always visible. It's built in the unseen moments, in the quiet discipline, in the sacrifices no one applauds. And if you can stay locked in through that, if you can keep going when it's hard and boring and frustrating, you will transform. Not overnight, but over time, and one day you'll look back and realize that the person who used to let you down is the same person who built you up. But it starts right now, not later, not someday, right now with a decision to stop repeating the past and start creating a future that finally matches your potential.